Welcome to the Leverage Show. This is Brett Ingram. You know, I've noticed a lot recently lists of different traits and characteristics and everything that make a successful entrepreneur. You know, I spend some time each day looking through publications or things online or whatever about business, running a business. I think it's really important to be a student of whatever it is that you do. So if you're a business owner, you should spend some time learning about running a business. Sort of like listening to this Leverage Show is one of those things that you could do to sort of feed your mind and get yourself in the right mind frame and to give yourself new ideas. Because otherwise you're sort of operating in the bubble. You're sort of stuck from where you are, and the only information that you have is your own mind. And while you may have the ability to think, it's difficult to be able to totally understand the full landscape of anything. Anyway, the point of it is, I see lots of these things that have lists of the successful traits of entrepreneurs. You know, the 21 things and the 6 ways to get more motivated and the productivity of this and the... But, you know, there's something that I've noticed that's absent in every list I've ever seen. In fact, I don't know that I've ever heard anybody ever talk about what might be the 2 most important traits in business and to your success as an entrepreneur and a business owner, especially in today's world. Now, it might not have been quite the same decades ago, but the landscape of business has changed, and so have the rules, and so have the requirements for success. And there are 2 traits that nobody talks about that I believe to be maybe the most important traits you can have, period, to be successful as an entrepreneur. And I'll explain to you why that is as well. Now, the first trait is reflection. And by reflection, I mean self-reflection, but also basically the ability to see the way things have been going or the way things are and look at it with an analytical eye. So, for example, this applies to you and to your business, and it's really important. What most people do if they look at their business is they just look at financials and that's it. You know, and that's the majority of the way that they're going to run their decision making. If things are going good and they're making profit, great. If they're not, not so good. We got to make some changes. But I'm going to challenge you to look at it a little bit differently. Okay, and here's what I mean. When you look at your business, you want to look at it from the perspective of not just where you are financially, but where does your business sit in relation to the marketplace and in relation to where you want it to be. And I'll give you an example of this in my business. Maybe this will drive the point home. So in my business, I actually was doing a lot of done-for-you services. So I had an online business, and a lot of what we were doing was done-for-you services. And we were making money. So it wasn't a profitability issue. But for me, I looked at it and I said, you know what? We're spending a ton of time on fulfillment. I don't really like the way that this is. I don't really like the business model. You know, I could be very happy with it because I'm making money. But I saw that I wanted to be able to move into something that didn't require so much labor to get the job done. And so I was reflecting about the business. I was looking at it from the perspective of more than just dollar signs and profit and loss and expenses and revenues. I was looking at it from the perspective of strategy and vision. So you take a look at your business and you identify things about it you like, and you identify things about it that you don't like, or things that you would change if you could. Now, when it comes to yourself, it's really no different. And most of us, if we're entrepreneurs, are probably pretty familiar with this, because I have a sneaking suspicion that most entrepreneurs have picked up a self-help or professional self-development type book or something like that along the line to learn, like, you know, how to be an effective manager, or, you know, the 7 habits of highly effective people, or all these other things. And that stuff is great in terms of, information. But you need to be able to look at yourself and say, okay, what are the things that I don't like? And I'm going to give you an example of this too from my own life and my own situation, because I think it'll help drive the point home. So when you're reflecting about yourself, what you're thinking about and looking at is, what are the traits or characteristics that you have that empower you and that make you better at what you do and make you happy as who you are? And what are the things about you that maybe not that you want to change, but things that you wish were a little bit different, or if you could get rid of, you would. And another example of this for me is, for whatever reason, there are times where I have a tendency to I can get negative, where I start to, instead of being optimistic and positive and having positive expectations, it's very easy for me to think about being unlucky, things not going my way. And I don't really like that. I don't like me when I'm like that. I know other people don't want to be around me if I'm like that. And so the reality of it is, I look at that and I reflect on myself. And again, this is not about success and failure. I can be negative when I'm making tons of money. It has nothing to do with that. It just has to do with character traits that sometimes you see. And I'll notice it when I'm interacting with my wife or my kids or whatever, or sometimes when I'm just thinking about business or other things, and I catch myself expecting the bad thing to happen or expecting the negative. I've always been a big believer that, the success that I've had has come from hard work. It's been my ability to sort of power through things. And so step one is the reflection. And that is identifying the things about your business and about yourself that are sapping your power or making you less effective. And then step two, and this is equally important, is adaptability. And adaptability is the second trait. And adaptability is the ability to take something that you want and to incorporate that into your business or into yourself. And the reason that I call it adaptability is because I think it's pretty easy now to find information. I mean, all you have to do is go online and do some searches for things, and you can find 12 habits of this, 6, things you can do for that. It's not hard to find information about how to improve your business or yourself or whatever else. The challenge is being able to take those pieces that you find and actually use them. I mean, I equate this a lot to weight loss and dieting. I see a lot of people that are constantly going on diets because they can never lose the weight. Well, you don't need more than one diet if you do it right the first time. Now, I'm not criticizing them. What I'm doing is I'm pointing out the fact that in order to successfully adapt, you would need to be able to take that trait and incorporate it, or take that aspect in your business and actually get it working in your business. So when you look up after the adaptation, you no longer have, or you're no longer, suffering from that same issue. So again, let me share back with my examples because I think that this will bring it home. So from a business perspective, the adaptation that I wanted to make is I said, you know what? I want to run a business where instead of it being all these done-for-you services, where I'm focused more on software. So when we sell the software, the customer gets the product and the sale is done. I mean, we need to support the person, but we don't need to fulfill anything, because I recognize that that would make my business a lot leaner and a lot easier to scale and make it larger. Because when you have a service-oriented business like that, and I mean, we're not selling pretzels. I mean, if I'm selling pretzels, there's no way around it. You can't really automate that. This was all online stuff. So done-for-you services was a pain because we were dealing with all people's different computer configurations and stuff like that. And so that was the adaptation that I wanted to make. It was the business that I wanted to get into. So what I did was I started developing software products instead. And it's important to know because, I love this. It's always sort of, there used to be an ad on TV and it made me laugh because they were making fun of it too. And I don't remember what it was for, but I thought it was brilliant. It showed a little car driving down the road. There was a giant tree that had fallen across the road. And then the scene just sort of cut and it shows the car driving past it. And the essence of the ad was, did you ever notice how this, whatever it was, they claim they're going to fix your problem, but they never really tell you how? And I thought, how brilliant, because it's so true. You just see the before and the after, but you don't really see the pain of the transformation Like, how do they actually solve that problem? So I want you to know this wasn't an overnight thing for me, nor was it easy or simple, because it sounds easy after the fact. But here's what you need to know. I had a customer base that was very happy with the kind of stuff that I was providing. So by going into a totally new sort of niche, I was risking losing the customers that I had, and I didn't know how effectively I was going to be able to market the new stuff. I just knew that I wanted that fundamental change in my business. So I made it happen, and I just did it step by step. So that was a business adaptation. Now, from a personal adaptation, I'll tell you a habit that I picked up. Whenever I notice that I'm getting negative, one of the things that I do is I stop for a minute and I think of 5 things that I'm grateful for in my life. And it doesn't matter how negative or how bad I am at the moment. If I start thinking about those things, I can't help but start to feel gratitude and start to feel lucky and start to feel so happy for all the opportunities that I have, that I've been given, and all the great things that are in my life, because there are so many people that have it so worse and would love to have the things that I have in my life. And so it's always easy to look over the fence at the other guy and say, I wish I had his house, or I wish I had, his income or his job or his car or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, whatever you have right now, somebody else is saying the same thing about you. And so it's a little adaptation. And again, it isn't necessarily a permanent fix. It doesn't mean I never get negative anymore. But I want to get rid of that element of my personality because I don't like it. It doesn't serve me. It's not positive in any way. I don't even like being around myself if I start getting negative. And so over the course of, the length of time that I've been doing this, I have to say that I've found I'm far more positive overall. I have a lot less negativity overall. And anytime I need a little tune-up, I just do my little exercise and I get into that, feeling of gratitude, and it's impossible to be negative anymore. And so I think those 2 traits, the traits of reflection and the traits of adaptation, are sort of the opposite sides of the coin that are really the root of success. Because if you have those 2 things, no matter where you're starting from, you can get to where you want to go. If you think about it, no matter where you are right now, if you have the ability to look at yourself and say, what changes do I need to be the leader I want to be, or the business owner I want to be, or the person I want to be? And you can look at yourself, and then you can look at your business, and you can say, where's my business now? Where do I want it to be? And what things do I need to do to get there? If you can identify all of that stuff, that is a huge step forward. Then the next step is to find ways to make those adaptations and to make them work. So then when you can make those changes, you can gradually move exactly where you want to go instead of where life has taken you. And those are 2 traits that I think nobody ever talks about that might just be the 2 most important traits to be a successful entrepreneur. If you have any questions or comments, visit me at leverigeshow.com and share them with me. And until next time, make it happen.